It's a loss. Alex Eala went down tonight. But wait before you close this video before you start endlessly scrolling through the lowlights and that all-too-familiar pit forms in your stomach. Just hold on. I want you to just stay with me for a moment because we have a lot to unpack here. A lot to really feel. And to be honest, even with this loss, I believe this journey remains one of the most incredible stories in Filipino sports this year. All right, the final score. Coco Gauff 6-0, 6-2 in just 1 hour and 7 minutes. Gauff moves on to the semifinals of the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships, and for Alex Eala, her journey is over. This amazing, completely unexpected out-of-nowhere run has come to a close. That's the outcome. That's what the scoreboard says. But that score tells you nothing about who Alex Eala is, and it certainly doesn't capture the significance of this week. Let's break it down. The whole thing. Okay, so before we even get into the match itself, there's some context you absolutely need to have. Alex Eala stepped onto that court for the quarterfinal, having already pulled off the impossible twice in this very tournament. In the round of 32, she took down world number 8 Jasmine Paolini, an Italian Open champion, and Roland Garros finalist in straight sets. Then, in the round of 16, she immediately followed that up by defeating Sorana Cîrstea, who was riding a 7-match win streak and had just captured a title 2 weeks prior 7-5, 6-4. That's 2 consecutive victories against a pair of genuinely top-tier opponents. And keep in mind, we're talking about a 20-year-old from the Philippines who is ranked number 40 in the world. Listen, if you'd shown me the bracket and predicted Alex Eala would make it to the quarterfinals of this event, I would have called you insane. Wonderfully insane, but insane nonetheless. She fought for this. She deserved this showdown with Coco Gauff. And that's the mindset you need to have here. Now onto the match. Coco Gauff is the world number 4. She's a 2-time Grand Slam winner with a French Open title under her belt. She's also a US Open champion. The way she plays is with a controlled rage that simply dismantles her opponents. For more than a year, she has been a fixture among the top 5 players on the planet. And folks, let's be real tonight, she was simply on another level. Alex had almost no response for anything Gauff brought to the court. Gauff's powerful, serve-her-punishing forehand, her knack for closing the distance and finding the open court with early shots. It was just one of those matches where whether you're in the stadium or watching on your phone like me, you get the sense that there's absolutely nothing Alex can do. Gauff was locked in that ice-cold, methodical zone where the crowd noise doesn't matter, and it was obvious from the very start. In the first set, Gauff took all 6 games. 6-love, a bagel. It was the first time Alex had been bageled in all of 2026. And frankly, you could tell from Alex's posture the way she kept shaking her head and looking over to her coach Joan Bosch at different moments she knew. She understood this just wasn't her day. When your game is off like that and every mistake just keeps compounding, it starts to wear on you mentally. Alex committed 33 unforced errors during this match. 33. It's the kind of performance where the racket feels alien in your hand. The ball isn't reacting the way you anticipate, and nothing is connecting. In the second set, Gauff jumped out to a 4-0 lead, 4-love once more. By this time, the Filipino supporters, and there were thousands in the arena waving flags and chanting, had fallen silent. It was that kind of silence where everyone is still present, still hoping. But you've run out of things to cheer for as the situation only gets bleaker. And then it happened. The single moment from this entire match that will stick with me. Alex finds herself down 0-4 in the second set on the verge of being bageled in back-to-back sets. And what does she do? She manages to hold her serve. And then she breaks Gauff's serve. Now it's 2-4. Following that break, the stadium suddenly comes alive again. The Filipino crowd found a reason to go absolutely wild. Flags were everywhere. The sound was deafening, all because she showed she wasn't finished yet. She was determined not to be on the receiving end of a double bagel. For those who follow her career, Alex's last double bagel defeat was in the 2022 Madrid Open qualifiers. She was only 16 at the time. There was no way she was going to let that repeat itself on the most significant stage of her career so far. Did she manage to narrow the lead? Gauff immediately answered, winning the next 2 games to seal the match 6-2. But in that instant, that service hold, that break, you saw everything you need to understand about Alex Eala's character. When it would have been incredibly simple to just mentally give up, to let it end and have a cry in the locker room, she battled. She forced Gauff to earn the win. For just a couple of minutes, she gave the crowd something to believe in. That says more about her spirit than 100 victories ever could. Now, I want to talk about what Coco Gauff said after the match because this is the part that really resonated with me. Gauff, who I should mention, had 8 double faults, because even when she's winning 6-0, 6-2, she's not a machine, spoke about Alex in a way that honestly gave me goosebumps. First off, she recognized Alex as a formidable opponent. She mentioned, even with a lead, I was aware she could stage a comeback at any time. I've witnessed her do it in the past. Just let that sink in for a moment. The world's #4 player, a two-time Grand Slam title holder, was looking across the net at Alex Eala and thinking, even at 6-0, 4-0, this player is a threat. She's capable of anything. That is true respect. That isn't just someone putting on a show for the media. And then she brought up the crowd. You see, thousands of Filipino supporters were cheering for Alex, transforming the stadium into a little piece of Manila, right there in Dubai. Gauff explained she dealt with it by doing something that was peak Coco Gauff. She mentioned that every time the stadium erupted for Alex, she'd simply imagine all that noise was for her. That must have been a huge help. It's like that old saying, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. Seriously though, it's hilarious and brilliant all at once. This is a player with the French Open and a US Open title to her name, and yet she's out here making jokes during a post-match interview on the court. You have to respect that. But the thing that really got to me was what came next. Gauff took a moment scanning the crowd filled with Filipino supporters and looking at the cameras, fully aware that millions were tuned in back in the Philippines. Then she said, I want to give a shout out to Alex for introducing a whole new group of fans to tennis. With a smile, she added, listen, I get that facing what feels like a home crowd can be challenging, but ultimately it's an amazing thing for the sport. So please, don't stop that enthusiasm and never stop cheering for your favorite player. That wasn't merely a classy thing to say. It was a declaration from one of the planet's top athletes confirming that Alex Eala's impact is significant. The fact that she is cultivating such a dedicated fan base, sparking those incredible moments in the crowd and drawing thousands of Filipinos to fill up a global tennis stadium that carries more weight than the outcome of any single match. Gauff recognized what was happening. She highlighted it for everyone to see, and she was spot on. Oh, she could not have been more correct. We need to look at the larger context now, because I know that seeing Alex lose tonight might leave you feeling down or disappointed. I understand completely. I was right there with you as it happened. But allow me to walk you through what Alex Eala actually achieved this week in Dubai. And I really want this to sink in. Coming into the tournament, her ranking was number 47. Regardless of the wildcard entry, statistically, she had no business being in the quarterfinals of a WTA 1000 event. First, she gets past Hailey Baptiste in the initial round. A tough but doable match, you'd think. But then, she pulls off a massive upset against the world's #8 Jasmine Paolini, defeating a top 10 opponent in 2 straight sets. I reported on that match. You all witnessed it. The stadium absolutely erupted. Next, she defeats Sorana Cîrstea, ranked number 31 globally, a player who was on a 7-match winning streak. It was another victory in straight sets, and it wasn't even a close call. After being down 4-5, she rallied back to snatch the first set, and then she composedly finished the job in the second. That makes 3 victories in a WTA 1000 tournament. 2 of those wins came against opponents ranked within the world's top 35. She made it to the quarterfinals of the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships, which is a WTA 1000 event. This marks just the second time in her whole career she's gone that deep in a WTA 1000. And she's only 20 years old. And get this, the best part is, after everything she just did, her official ranking is about to climb. Following the win over Cîrstea, the live projection had her at about number 38, and it could rise even more once the points from making the quarterfinals are factored in. She already holds this record as the highest-ranked Filipino tennis player in the entire history of the WTA. She became the very first Filipino player to ever crack the top 40, and she's still just